Today's day one of my 75 book challenge, and I can't read. I decided to start this challenge because I wanted to focus on my physical TBI, and I have set myself very optimistic goals that I am quite excited about. And I was really looking forward to today, to Monday, to starting off this challenge. But unfortunately, for the last few weeks, and especially the last couple of days, I have been struggling with really bad anxiety. And whenever I'm anxious, reading is just about the hardest thing. My brain gets filled with so many thoughts that there's just no space in my head for focusing on books. And that is really the service to books. And then it becomes incredibly frustrating for me because I feel like I'm reading the same page over and over and over, and I'm not really getting anywhere. And suddenly I'm 200 pages in and have absolutely no idea what happened. And really, I had two options. I could have either postponed this challenge until I feel better, or to be fair, I guess I had three options, or I could have just completely cancelled it. I haven't posted the intro yet, so nobody would really know that I decided to not go on with the challenge. Or I could have sat down in front of a camera and filmed this video, and I decided to opt in for the last one. And because I decided to continue with the challenge and because I committed to filming these vlogs and these check ins, I kind of had to accept that today will probably be very far from a day when I reach my goal, and that's okay. So I wanted to do a check-in anyway, since now is closer to the evening and I've actually done some reading and I'm really happy about that. And I am in the middle of reading The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. It is the book two in the Bloodsworn saga. I am really enjoying this book. I started it yesterday. I unfortunately didn't read as much yesterday as I was hoping, for the same reason as I'm struggling today. But that's okay. I got to page 126 yesterday, and since then, I managed to finish the chapter that I left in the middle of yesterday, and I read two more. So I think in total today, I read almost 30 pages and I still have the evening ahead of me. And even though 30 pages is not my goal of 100, I'm still very happy and proud of myself. So I will do my best to read a couple more chapters in the evening. If I manage to do so, great. If not, then absolutely fine. I'm sure I will find a way to catch up. And to be fair, even if I don't, it's really not that bad. As long as I'm reading and as long as I'm reading through my TBR, I am really happy and I think I'm achieving my goals. So this is my first check in. I might film a little bit more in the evening just to let you know how I got on throughout the day, but I doubt that that is going to be the case. But I will try to come back either tomorrow or the day after when I've hopefully made a decent progress in this book, and then I'll let you know how it's going. Hi, we are in Saturday, which means that I haven't filmed since Monday despite my promises. And there's a fair bit to update you on. I have made quite a bit of progress on Hunger of the Gods, all things considered. I am feeling a lot better since Monday, since I filmed last time. And I've also received a couple of books. I haven't purchased any, like I promised. I still haven't broken my no buy, which is quite impressive for me. But I have received two pre orders and I have received one of the Broken Binding subscription books. So I will show you those. We'll talk about the Hunger of the Gods and we'll talk a little bit about mental health. And I thought to kick off, I will just share some of the stats and how much I've been reading. So on Monday, I actually managed to read 60 pages. Then Tuesday was a little bit less successful. I read 54, and on Wednesday, I didn't read any. And then on Thursday, I sort of went back to that same level and I read 62 pages. And yesterday, I was feeling a lot better. I was in London. I had a fair bit of free time to just sit down and read. I read 99 pages, and today it's currently 2 p.m. and I have already read 51 pages. So, with all of that, I have read in total 326 pages, which means that my daily average is currently sitting at 54. I am still reading The Hunger of the Gods, but I am this far in. I have about 275 pages left. So, not a whole lot. I am almost at the end of the book. I'm hoping I will be able to finish it today, but I actually don't think I will be. So it is entirely possible that this entire fast week is just going to be one book. And I am okay with that. That wasn't the plan. I was hoping that I would be able to read two books every week at least, because that is sort of the goal that I've set for myself. But it is a pretty long book. I have been struggling with anxiety. I was really struggling to read for the first few days up until I would say Thursday. Thursday was sort of the first good day for me in terms of my mental health and in terms of reading. I was really enjoying reading on Thursday. And then yesterday was not even a catch up, but yesterday I managed to read a lot, and hopefully today will be no worse than yesterday. So yeah, it hasn't been going exactly as I planned it to. The challenge wasn't exactly as successful as I was hoping, but I haven't purchased any books. I haven't broken that promise. I have been getting out for walks, just not as many as I hoped. I was planning on logging how many walks I do every day and keep them in the same spreadsheet as the pages, but I haven't been doing that. I have been getting out for at least one walk almost every day. I think I skipped a day or two, but I am getting back on track. I am about to leave the house, so I thought I could come in front of the camera while I'm looking like a decent human being and have a conversation. So let's start with The Hunger of the Gods. I am, like I said, almost done with the book, 175 ish pages left. I think it's about 30% of the book. There's in total 625 pages, and I'm absolutely loving it. I have heard only good things about the book, and I 100% agree. There's really nothing that I dislike about it so far. It's really interesting in how Jung Win sort of weaves in new POVs and new characters, and you look at those characters a little bit differently once you start reading from their POV. You don't necessarily start feeling for them, but you develop very fresh perspective, I guess. This book is a fair bit better than the first one. I'm enjoying it a lot more than the first one. And I think this is my favorite second book in the series out of all the series that I've read. Usually for me, second book in the series is the least favorite. It's a lot of the times a bit of a, I don't want to say drag, but kind of where I sort of just have to power through the second book to get to the third one, because the first one is always really interesting. You get into the new world, you get to know new characters that you've never met before, you get to know the story, you get attached to characters. And then the last book is always really interesting because it's the unraveling of all of the events. It's sort of the big conclusion, everything coming together. I'm thinking, First Law trilogy or Mistborn trilogy, very, very strong third books and very interesting first books. But then in both trilogies, the second book was the weakest one for me, the least enjoyable of all. But this is so far the exact opposite. I really enjoyed the first book, and the first book definitely made me want to read the second book. But the second book is such a step up compared to the first book. The characters, they just develop in such an interesting way, and you can't stop reading. You want to know what's going to happen next. You want to know what these selfish and powerful and revenge thirsty gods want to do, and what's going on in the world, and how are these people interacting with each other, and how their stories sort of weave together. I guess it's really interesting. If you're considering reading it, please do. I think it's a wonderful trilogy. It's a beautiful example of John Gwen's writing. His writing was really enjoyable in The Faithful and the Fallen, but this feels like a step from that as well, which makes sense since this is his latest works. It's also, in my opinion, unexpectedly a lot more gripping than The Faithful and the Fallen, and The Faithful and the Fallen was a success for me. I really enjoyed that series. But this, you can't put it down. Well, I could because I have been, but I didn't want to put it down. I really wanted to continue reading it. I was getting annoyed with my brain because I made this comparison to my friend and then to my therapist as well, but it was almost like my brain was this needy child that was demanding attention, and I just wanted the child to go away because I just really wanted to continue reading, and I didn't want to get distracted, and it was annoying and irritating me, and it was really hard because I think it would have been easier for me if I wasn't enjoying the book. I could just, dive into whatever my brain was thinking and be happy with that. But I really, really wanted it to stop because I really wanted to continue reading. So to me, that is a huge compliment to John Gwen's writing and this book and this story. I think it's an absolute success. So my plan for the weekend is to continue reading The Hunger of the Gods. I am hoping I will either finish this today or first half of the day tomorrow, and then I think I will switch on to some romance and read some L. Kennedy. Thinking of the deal, that was a very quick and a very easy read for me. So I'm hoping that the second book in the series will be just as easy and just as quick. It will take my mind off of whatever, and I'll just be able to dive in and not get distracted and just get through it really quickly and add it to my read, and hopefully bring the averages of the daily read a little bit higher, because I do want it to sit somewhere around at least 75, 80. I don't think I'm going to reach 100 anytime soon, unless I really, really up my number of pages read every day. But I don't want to make it a chore either. I do want to still enjoy it. I don't want to burn out in any shape or form. Now that that's out of the way, let's switch to the books that are being added to my shelves, and I'm incredibly excited about every single one of them. Like I said, these aren't the new books that I purchased so far. I have been tempted to buy two books. Actually, I'm keeping a list of books that I want to buy, of books that are on my wish list, and so far we have two. One is The Poet Empress by Shantao, which I have added to the list before the challenge started. I have wanted to buy this from the beginning of the year, and I've been sort of going back and forth on it, and then I had a bit of a book haul around my birthday and I just couldn't find the physical copy anywhere in the store. So I just thought, whenever I want to pick it up, I will pick it up, and it never made it to my cart. And then the other one that I'm really tempted by is The Finest Hotel in Kabul. It was one of the winners of the Women's Prize of 2026. It was the nonfiction winner. And it sounds like a really interesting story. I did go to the signing yesterday. I signed my copy of The Correspondent. I was incredibly happy about that. Virginia was incredibly nice. She was one of the loveliest authors I've ever met, very friendly, very, very happy to have people there. And a really exciting thing happened in the queue. I was standing second in the queue, and there was a person in front of me, and we started sort of chatting, and she started sharing that she's never been the first person in the queue, and I told her about some of the events that I've gone to, and especially the one that I went for Joe Abercrombie, and how I was the first person waiting there for an hour until the event started. And we kind of got into that conversation, and she was saying that authors are really appreciative when fans are so passionate about their work. And then she was like, I'm also an author. And I asked her what she's written, if I know anything. And she turned out to be Amelia Hart. And Wavered, it was her first book. Then she wrote Sirens. I haven't read Sirens. I have read Wavered, and I absolutely loved it. And it was just such an unreal experience to just meet one of your favorite authors just randomly in a store in a queue and have this conversation. And she was absolutely lovely. It was a great day. I really enjoyed that interaction. But anyway, I'm getting completely off topic. I haven't purchased any books. These are the ones that I have pre-purchased a while ago, or two of them are pre-purchases. One of them is a subscription, but it's a subscription from March. The Broken Binding had a bolt-on where you could add the Ryan Cahill book to your March subscription box, and then they would arrive together. Because there were a fair bit of delays with the print of Ryan Cahill, they couldn't send out the subscription as well. So I've just received them, I think, a couple of days ago. So the first book that I have received from the Broken Binding is Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlin. I thought I would open them on camera and just, I guess, have a live reaction and show you the books and see what I think about them myself. So this is Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlin. It's an absolutely gorgeous edition. You can see the cover here and then the sprayed edges. It's just such a beautiful edition. It's so different from the one that he was releasing with all the other retailers, and the sprayed edge is just, it's just magnificent. And then you get the art inside, and the dust jacket also has an art on it. And this is a historical fiction fantasy horror blend. I don't remember the synopsis. I think this is a Black Plague. Yes, this is Black Plague. And this is sort of fantasy horror-ish events happening during the Black Plague. There's a priest involved, and that is about all I know. It is here, it says that it's an epic tale of medieval horror, and that is sort of the vibe that I was getting. I went to the event to listen to him talk about the book. He has published it a while ago as an indie publish, and now it's been picked up by a traditional publisher. So I've heard wonderful things of it from the people that read it when it was released in Indie, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. It's not a very long book. I think it's about 400 pages, and this is truly just an absolutely beautiful edition. And I think maybe let's continue with the subscription book. This one is Bird and the Mice. I do think that this is the March one because the Bolton was for the March, but I thought that the theme was a little bit different. But maybe I'm wrong. Oh, that is really interesting. So I thought that the March theme, based on the description of the March book, would have been Tea Kingfisher. I don't remember the name of it. Wolfworm? Something worm. But no, it's actually Green and Deadly Things by Jen Lyons. Leons. I don't exactly know how to pronounce the name, but it's a beautiful book. It has a sprayed edge, obviously, just like any broken binding book does. There's some beautiful art inside, and then I believe it's also signed. It is signed by the author. It is a March 2026 book. How interesting. I thought this would be the Kingfisher one. Now I feel like I want to pick up the Kingfisher one because it was actually on my TBR. It's a beautiful naked hardcover as well. So I'm really excited about this book. I'm very surprised by this book in the best possible way. I haven't actually heard anything about it. It's a beautiful cover. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading the synopsis and seeing how I feel about the book just based on the synopsis. I'm very excited about it. I do like surprises, which I know that that's the entire point of subscription, but since I started doing the new releases, I feel like I'm so tuned in on what's coming out in the fantasy world and just in the book world in general that it becomes a little bit difficult to surprise me. But this has definitely hit the mark. I am really excited about this. And then we also have some goodies. We have the Broken Binding 5-year celebration bookmark, which I didn't expect. It's actually a really beautiful one. It's foiled. It's a pretty thick cardboard as well. I'm really happy about that. And then we have another bookmark, which I am assuming this is of Blood and Fire. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't read the book. I've heard a lot of good things about the book, haven't gotten around to it. And then we also have a map of Etheria, which I'm assuming is also Ryan Carhill of Blood and Fire. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And then the book itself. And I'm really excited about this one. This was their first book that was published under the Broken Binding Publishing House, which was exciting. I have a Woodstones edition, and I really like the Woodstones edition, but obviously I wanted to pick up the Broken Binding one. Once, I really wanted to support them as a publisher and pick up their special edition, and two, it was just looking absolutely gorgeous. And here she is. It's a beautiful gold cover with a beautiful gold gilded edge. It was supposed to be a ghost edge, but I think they were really struggling with it, so they decided to eventually give up on the ghost edge, and they actually flew Ryan out to sign all the copies. I think there was either 3 or 5,000 copies, and I also think it comes with some illustrations. There's a beautiful map. The cardboard one is definitely the one from here, and then every single chapter also starts with a little image, and I think there's some illustrations in between. Like we have this. Let me see what else. We have these beautiful illustrations. Yeah, no, it's an absolutely beautiful book. I'm more than happy that I got it, and I'm more than happy that I waited for it. I want to see the naked cover. The naked cover is white with the egg on it and a sword. It's a beautiful book. I'm very happy I got it. Yeah, so this is, I mean, does this count as my book haul? I guess it does. These are the new books that I'm adding to my shelf. So let's call this a book haul. I am still very much holding strong on not buying books. It hasn't been easy, especially yesterday when I was in Piccadilly Woodstones, just waiting for the signing to start without being able to buy any books. I was stressing. I wasn't stressing. Stressing is very dramatic, but I was very, very tempted, and I'm glad that I didn't buy any. I'm very happy about that. But yeah, this has been my week so far. I will definitely come on and have another update tomorrow when I have sort of this, I guess, the stats of the week. I would be very excited to see how I did in a week. I'm hoping that this weekend will be successful in terms of reading, but I'm scared of jinxing it. I Yeah, I spoke about it in my Monday update. I have been really struggling with anxiety, and I've never really struggled with anxiety to this extent. Or maybe I have without realizing that it is anxiety. But it's definitely been a bit of a challenge. It's a little bit scary when your brain is sort of working against you and you can't really relax, you can't stop, you can't just do what you love, and I absolutely love reading. So this week has definitely not been easy, and I tried to say in my Monday update, but I just couldn't put the words together. But I just really wanted to say that if you're watching this, if you just so happen to stumble upon my channel and watch this video and hear me talk about this, if you are currently struggling with anxiety, if you can relate to how I'm feeling, especially how I was feeling when I was filming the update on Monday, then just know that it will pass and it is okay to feel that way. And it is absolutely fine to be struggling. And the only thing that you can do for yourself is to just do your best every single day, to just wake up and do your best. And it doesn't really matter what your best is for that day. It could be just rolling out of bed, taking a shower, and just going through your day. Or it could be reading a chapter, or 10, or 20, or finishing another book, or two or three. Whatever your best for that day is more than enough. I know I really struggle from wanting to reach my goals and reach not perfection, but reach what I have decided is what I need to be reaching every single day and what I need to be doing every single day. And then I start feeling a little bit like a failure when I don't. And that was definitely not the mindset that could have helped me in the situation. So if you're watching this and you have a pretty good idea of what I'm describing and you know how that feels, then just know that you're not alone in this. It's okay to just do your best, even if your best is the absolute bare minimum, and you're gonna be just fine. I will come back with an update tomorrow. I will do my best to come back with an update tomorrow, and then yeah, I'll see you in the next update. Hi, I am doing my last update for 75 booked first week's vlog, and I said I would do a check-in on Sunday or the end of Saturday, and unfortunately today is Monday, so I guess I failed on that promise. I also thought that I would be able to finish The Hunger of the Gods, and unfortunately that also didn't happen. Sad to admit that I'm not actually even close to finishing it. I still have almost 100 pages left, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about how many pages I've read in the first week, what's my daily average in the first week, and all of that fun stuff. So, to remind you of my very optimistic goals, I did have a goal of reading at least 100 pages on average per day, and unfortunately, that most definitely didn't happen. My daily average after the first week is 56 pages. I've covered a lot in this vlog about my struggles with mental health, with anxiety, and how hard it is for me to read when I'm anxious. That unfortunately has been the case pretty much the whole week, with the exception of a couple of days. So, if you're curious, there was one day on Wednesday when I didn't read at all. There were 2 days when I read 54 pages. That was the minimum that I read per day when I read. And then I had a very successful Friday with 99 pages read. So in total, I read 391 pages, which is a good bit less than I was hoping. I also failed in my goal to go for 3 walks every single day. That has not been the case, I think, for any of the days. I was still leaving the house. I had some things that I needed to do outside of the house. I had some chores, I had some plans, I had some, I had a trip to London on Friday. So I was getting my steps in, but I wasn't going out for walks. And there were a couple of days when I was pretty much just existing inside the house, which is absolutely not what I want to do. Bad for my health, both physical and mental. So I'm going completely against everything that I'm trying to achieve with trying to better myself. So going forward, that is definitely something that I will focus on a little bit more. But I am happy to report that I still haven't purchased a single book. I have shown you the 3 that I received, but that was not any money spent in the last week since the challenge started. So I am quite proud of myself. That is definitely me sticking with my goal, even though I have been incredibly tempted. So, with these stats, I think it goes without saying that this isn't exactly how I was hoping my first week would go. This isn't exactly the numbers that I was hoping to reach. I do plan to change my goals a little bit and adjust them to how things are going, so I don't constantly feel like I'm behind and I don't constantly feel like I have to catch up. That isn't a very nice or very motivating feeling, especially when you're feeling a little bit down. So I am going to lower my reading goals and adjust a little bit walking goals as well, so they become a little bit more achievable. But if you want to see what that's going to look like and whether I succeed, then please follow along. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it potentially wasn't what I was hoping it would turn out to be, but I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.